Test 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Hey, how y'all doing? So good to see you. Hey, hey, what did you call me? Well, I'm in the snow. Yeah, I'm streaming via OBS right now. That's how come I'm able to do different stuff and put up screens and we can control what we want to. So You're gonna be good. You're gonna be gooder. Dr. Turnipseed. No, I don't like that life. Hey, Ethel Kane. Hey, Ethel. Uh, 4 o'clock Central.
This is the wrong movie. Everything.
Thank you very, very much. Um, there are a couple of things I want to do just before I say that. And one of the things we have to understand is the mechanics of government and how government operates as lay people and what different things mean in government operations. I work and I've been walking on Capitol Hill for a long time. The National Juneteenth Observance Foundation is really looking for a day of observance like Flag Day. The significance of the day of observance is that it gives us the opportunity to dictate a message for federal employees to learn. Agencies like the Department of the Interior or the Smithsonian will turn to the Office of Personnel Management and say this particular day of observance is coming up. Who and what do we turn to figure out what we're doing? The education about the contribution of black people in America needs to be ingrained into the psyche of America. Everything from how the textbooks were written. We weren't slaves, okay? We were people. We weren't runaway slaves. We were people running away from slavery, all right? Okay, so everything has to change with that. And that's going to start here in America with a day of observance. Now, freedom is something that is given to you. Freedom is something that is granted to you and not incurred from God. Liberty in the preamble of the Constitution is what they took that freedom to secure the blessings of liberty for themselves and their posterity. One of the first writers to address the evils of slavery, Lemuel Haynes, his titled The Extension of Liberty. Liberty, it can be defined as Philip Randolph said there are no reserved seats at the banquet table of nature. So liberty is something that we have to, is the exercising of our freedoms. But the ultimate hindrances of liberty, right, is some of the things that have been described by the mayor and other people. And we hinder ourselves from our liberty when we take each other's life, when the police take your life. You are ultimately taking somebody's civil liberty from them. That's the civil crime. But we also have to understand the empowerment of Juneteenth to pursue liberty, right? And our entrepreneurs are the people are the epitome of that because they do not ask for permission to do something. If it's lawful, if it's right, they just do it. They just do it and they do it what it takes to get it done. That's the example of liberty. When somebody tells you you cannot do something, when they block you from doing something, they're impeding your liberty, your constitutional right. The real essence of Oklahoma and Juneteenth in Oklahoma, as we have described in one of our documents, from Juneteenth to Black Wall Street, is a direct connection. They exercised their liberty. They created and banded and worked together, created economy, those Juneteenthers, and exercised their liberty, right? Now, when they came along and bombed them and fought them over several years, several events, that was them, and the government coming in and destroying the black towns was them, not taking their freedom away, but blocking their liberty. And so with that self-agency is what we have to really and truly understand. Yes, there is a lot of things that are going on, and everything is correct. The education system is geared for subversive indoctrination. We don't know the truth. They know the truth. The truth is in the history books, but it's not published. Yes. The healthcare is a disparity. All these things are very true. But by us exercising our liberty is the very first thing that we can do to start to overcome them. And that's why we say all things Juneteenth. It's the beginning of those descendants of former slaves, enslaved people, to exercise their liberty. Right. Please let our legislative team know anything we can do to help. We're really great. We really want to help. We will circulate it through the state through our people. Thank you very much. Where's the link at for the meeting?
I'll send it to you. It's in your email, but
Which email does it say? I mean, I got 30 emails from you.
the one is both of them. It's Sterling's line. The other line went out.
Whose line is it?
It's on Sterling's call. Jackson State went out.
What happened to Jackson State?
I'll tell you. We'll tell you. It blew up some kind of way. Let me get these.
Well, please, yeah, send me the link so I can go on.
Continue the link.
All right. Okay, I can give you the 2 minute. I'll give you the 2 minute version. Okay. Black History Month is located in February for several reasons. The first reason is that February 1st is when the 13th Amendment was passed in Congress. The 13th Amendment was the culmination of President Lincoln's legislation and fighting against slavery since about 1840. Okay, that we got to. So that day was there, and they celebrated in the House, and Frederick Douglass was there and celebrated in the House with them about this monumental occasion. And several other people did several ceremonies among the black community, kind of because it was truly set us free. The Emancipation Proclamation only dealt with slaves and rebellion. It didn't deal with the ending of slavery throughout America. So it was that first day, right? And so it got to be pretty much like a Freedom Like Day celebration. In the 1926, Carter G. Woodson developed a week to honor that based upon that day, right, in the Solace Association and the birthdays of Lincoln and Douglas, right? It was a week-long celebration that they did that, and they did that whole week-long thing, and it went for several years. But then to bring attention back to the importance of why February is there, a Major Robert Wright developed the National Freedom Day Foundation. The National Freedom Day Foundation lobbied starting in 1916, finally in 1949, getting National Freedom Day established on February 1st. Right, so that established that day, and there was a lot of celebrations. There was a brilliant scholar, pianist, activist by the name of Dr. Robert Starling Pritchard. Dr. Pritchard grew up in New York. He remembered the honoring the people and the week-long celebrations that they used to have for Juneteenth, and he decided in 1965 to do a month-long celebration of Juneteenth. Of not just Juneteenth, but of like Juneteenth, but of our history and who we are and all the people that we honor. It was a music festival, and Dr. Petrard was the first classical pianist to be recorded in America. So that is the evolution. By 1969, the Pan American Pan African Institute had lobbied, and it became to be just a general accepted thing. And most states between 65 and 79 adopted it as Black History Month. Short, 2 minutes. One last thing, please go to www.juneteenth.us, sign the petition. We're about 1.6 million. We need you all to go there. Education is key. Join us of our program. Thank you very much. Mayor Hoskins, really nice to meet you. Okay, thank you. When the fuck is the link at? Testing 1, 2. Hey, Carl. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Yeah. Hey, Carl. Yeah. Um, how's the snow, man? Oh, only 3. We're up to 6 here. That's when the heavy stuff comes in. everyone. Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me clearly. Brother Kareem, assalamu alaikum. I appreciate it. Dr. Turnipseed, you look beautiful as ever. Brother Funches, glad to see you and everybody else. You know, I'm really happy to be able to do this because Black History Month is in February for a reason, and I was very, very kind of um, perplexed that a lot of people didn't do it. But then didn't understand it. But then I looked around and said nobody put the pieces together. So we're gonna click the pieces together. The reason why Black History Month is in February and how it evolved into a month-long celebration. Okay, so one of the first things you have to recognize is that tomorrow, February 1st, is one of the most important days in legislative history. It is when the 13th Amendment was passed that actually ended slavery in America. Okay, February 1st, 1865. When they started, not only did the black people around the country and Washington, D.C. and different areas, but the people in the House celebrated. Even Frederick Douglass was known to be down there and was happy to see the first part of the fruition of his work going on. He actually knew that after the passing of the 13th Amendment that there was aware that was going to be a long struggle for African Americans from then, but you know, he was glad with the first step and saw the outlinings of the 14th and the 15th Amendment coming, right? Shortly after this, everything that Lincoln Jr. did presidential orders or executive orders, and it was not long after the 13th Amendment and having written out the format for those that Lincoln was assassinated. But that was February 1st, and some people kept a little tradition around of celebrating their freedom on Freedom Day on February 1st. In 1926, there was a man by the name of Carter G. Woodson. Hold on. Carter G. Woodson. Carter G. Woodson began a week-long event commemorating our freedom and the celebration of our freedom to coincide with both Frederick Douglass's and Abraham Lincoln's birthday. This week-long celebration was really a celebration. It was just about honoring significant people in Black history, right? And the people there gravitated towards it and started to really invest in our history and Black History Week. And some people who are old enough can remember when that was a big thing, was Black History Week. But the importance of the 13th Amendment could not be forgotten, right? It is something that couldn't be forgotten. So a guy by the name of Major Richard Robert Wright Sr., who was born a slave, right? Major Wright had a remarkable life. He was involved in banking and education, and he created an organization called the National Freedom Day Society. And they started lobbying Congress to make February 1st National Freedom Day. Major Wright was a veteran of two wars, and he was very much involved with helping and uplifting his community. And though he was not alive to see it, in 1947, the National Freedom Day Association got their bill on the Hill, and it was signed into law on June 30th, 1948. Right? In subsequent years, there were things that were added to the day to bring it some attention, and people started paying attention to both Freedom Day and to Black History Week. There was a man who was a world-renowned entrepreneur and pianist by the name of Dr. Robert Starling Pritchard. Dr. Pritchard grew up in New York, in the Syracuse, New York area, and Dr. Pritchard was greatly impressed by several celebrations in New York that took place. And one of those was the local Juneteenth celebrations, with all the music and the festivals that took place on Juneteenth for about a week there, as Dr. Pritchard let me know. Let me transition. That's me with Dr. Pritchard. We are waiting to speak with then Senator Obama. And we had several conversations. Dr. Pritchard was the first black man to be recorded as a classical pianist in America. And he was so impressed behind that he felt that we needed to celebrate and commemorate our people all month long. What he meant by all month long is that there should be a musical celebration and commemoration about all the contributions that we have made, so that people can understand our importance and relevance. Dr. Pritchard was also a person who studied J.A. Rogers. In 1965, he did his first month-long music festival where he played every day of the month for the people. And by 1968, the Pan American Pan African Institute had begun the campaign to bring Black History Month to people around the country. Last thing, we would like everybody to also recognize the significance about Black History Month and the godliness behind it is that our president and founder, the Reverend Ronald V. Myers Sr. MD, birthday is February 29th, Black History Month. So we start with the Constitution and we end with Doc. So that's the reason why it's there. The dates, the time, the legislative history is the reason why February became Black History Month. And before there was any other history month, everybody else copied us after that. Okay, March is going to be Women's History Month. Right after Black History Month. So that's the reason why I start there. And tomorrow is a day which needs honor and recognition. We became aware about it because in our legislative quest to get Juneteenth on the calendar, after it was not just about Texas, was what do we do with Freedom Day? What's the difference between Freedom Day and Juneteenth? So we had to address that and answer that question. And once we overcame that objection, we were able to push ahead. So there you have it. Any questions, Brother Kareem? A quarter of the age you're supposed to be. It's the most unique month of the year. It's the month that makes the difference in calendar. It's the month that keeps everything in sync. If February wasn't have a leap year, our calendars would be off. time would be off. Everything would be off. It's the most significant month in the year. Okay. that, Yeah, Abraham Lincoln's birthday is on the 12th. Frederick Douglass' birthday is on the 12th. The Constitutional Amendment, the 13th Amendment, was passed on the 1st. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on there. But from a purely logical point of view, it is um, the linchpin month because it keeps everything in balance. You got to have that leap year. Don't have that leap year, we'd be rotated right off balance. Yeah. I mean, well, listen, it's all commemorative. Hey, Frederick Douglass was born a slave. He didn't know what his birthday was, so he just chose February 14th, Day of Love. All right? So it's all commemorative. It's all symbolic. It's all meant to be. So you can't fight God, and so just let it be what it is and take it for what it is. So, yeah, it's all. Mm-hmm. Well, the other thing that helped encourage him was he received 13 letters of commendation from officers for one Salem Poor, who stood up in the Battle of Bunker Hill and actually rescued the white soldiers there by killing a British commander and then directing them how to flank and go back. He received 13 letters of commendation from white soldiers who said they never saw anybody fight like that. So that, along with the bravery of several other people, including Lemuel Haynes, who was there at Fort Ticonderoga, was something that caused him to pay attention to the ferocity of the black man in battle. Yeah, so the Freedom Day Code actually what happened with that is Majors' Rights, the National Freedom Day Foundation died. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. It actually went down to two. Legislatively, it held no significance. It's still there as a placeholder, but there's nobody administering the day. The other thing about also that we told them the difference about Freedom Day and Juneteenth is that the 13th Amendment represents what you guys did, what the government did. The Juneteenth represents what we the people did, and our self-agency. It's of our own doing. It's of our own words. Even when we go down and we look into the history of Juneteenth, the vast majority of black people who were enslaved could not read. And we have found out from many different people that they found out the word not from something posted on the wall or from Granger, but by the black men with guns. They were everywhere, and they were the ones that told them, and they were able to actually embrace freedom. Which one is it? So that's Juneteenth, the self-agency. It's the other side of it. It's the realization of the 13th Amendment and the Emancipation Proclamation. You said it. Juneteenth is the realization of it. And so that was the message to get across to them, and that it's other people. So, and that everybody it's about the whole country, not just about one group of people in one area. So, that was the point of Juneteenth and how we were able to get it. It is like Flag Day in U.S. Code 36. There is not really an organization behind it supporting it. The timing was appropriate because it showed the fortitude of keeping the Union together. Not everyone agreed with what was in the 13th Amendment. Not everyone agreed with what was coming with the 14th and 15th Amendment. But through the power of persuasion was it able to take place. And that showed the unity, that shows the unification of the states and their opposition to slavery. The 13th Amendment was progressive. One thing I learned about Lincoln long before and was reinforced by some of our Lincoln scholars was that he learned and he grew in his progression to fight both morally and legislatively against slavery. And so, if you take only one portion out of it in the solutions and trying to fix the problem of the union, you can take it out of context. But you have to be able to have the knowledge to take it all in together. I am by no means a Lincoln expert, but what I have learned from some of the people around me, and ideally, Brother Carl Adams right here, has shed a lot of light to me about Lincoln, his battle, and where he was at. But as in direct answer to your question, it had to be done at that time in order to show that you either come along and be in lockstep or not. And so it wasn't a perfect solution, and not everybody agreed with it, but it needed to take place, and that was the time for it to happen. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, he had those lined up and said, but we got a Lincoln expert right here, and one of the craziest things I ever heard was, and the Carl brought to his attention in this book was how he was fighting the fight, before he was in elected office, as a lawyer, and so it's a lead into one of our stories, but. As far as February being as what it is, we have so much stories and so much contributions that we made to America that just it's not long enough. A year is not long enough. If they gave us a Black History year, we couldn't squeeze it all in. But we've got to start someplace, and the place that we're going to start with is by trying to educate people in a more holistic approach. I'm hearing that, and I'm kind of understanding it, but at the same time, we have to learn how to exalt ourselves and celebrate ourselves. We're sitting in air conditioning right now and driving in cars, and we don't even know that if it wasn't for Elijah McCoy, we wouldn't have any one of these joys. And that type of knowledge empowers and encourages our people to go forward. You know. It's subjective. That's what created Jim Crow. Well, we got Sam Collins on here. Sam Collins is an expert in that particular subject. Are you? So yeah, that is part of the loophole because they want to be able to take away not just our rights but other people's rights. If you commit a crime, they want to be able to take that and enforce you. And so we felt subjected to it because of our skin color, but there were other people that felt subjected to the same thing. How can you have a penal system in a free society if you don't have some way to take away people's rights and freedoms? But once again, there's the manipulation and the misuse of that. Um, Mm-hmm. Brother Mafalek? Oh, that was a link that somebody asked me. It was a link to some writings in the slave narratives. They have an excerpt from the Extension of Liberty, written by Lemuel Haynes. I've been really, this guy's really amazing, man. He's like a Moses that we never knew about. So I knew him as a minister, but didn't know his background as far as writing and dealing with um, the beginning of the civil rights movement and addressing some of the things which has caused you to have these loopholes in the 13th Amendment. He talks about the ability that everybody is born with liberty, if not freedom, and that even if slaves in Rome had liberty, if not freedom, but you have taken our liberty away from us, and only God can do that. So you presume the position of God. So you know, and so therefore we need to, approach it in a different manner. So I put the link up there. Everybody has asked me for it, and I just had to go. I got a print out copy of the book, and I'm just like, it's a great reading. So that's what that was. So, uh, um, in my conversations with Dr. Pritchard, his thing was not only the education of our black people that made the contribution to them, but the celebration of them. And that's what Doc got. If we don't celebrate ourselves, nobody will celebrate us. So that's a big part of what is kind of missing in that, because when you celebrate something or you celebrate somebody, right, or their accomplishment, they're more ingrained in your history, into your origin. I mean, We need to know what are we doing. We're all wearing shoes today because of a brother by the name of Hans Messenger. We're wearing shoes because of him. You got shoes because of a black man by the name of Hans Messenger. He figured out how to put the song, and we're still using the same technology today. Nike, everybody. So the list goes on, but we have to be able to have a time to celebrate them. We celebrate them to ourselves. Awareness is key. That's one of the key things is awareness. So if it's a month for us to wear, and then they got Latino month, they got Women's History Month, everybody copied us. So it got to be something that's right behind it. Because now everybody wants their month. Because we got one, now everybody else want one. So and look at them throughout the month. So I think that you're right. It's an everyday thing, but if we can just take along and manipulate it and work it so that it's a thing where we can get more people to really focus in, on what we did. But that's what we did. That's our contributions to America and the state. But that has nothing to do with the ending of slavery in America, which is a completely different thing, and our self-agency for it. The technical ending of slavery in America. The first step for us to really start to try to pursue liberty. That's the difference in Juneteenth. Yes, we honor Dr. King because he's a great man and deserves his honor, and he's just a man. And we need to have a focus on our history, and people's attention spans aren't that long. A week isn't long enough. A day was too short, and what was the day really about? But to have a month and say, hey, this is what we're doing, it worked. And because everybody else is trying to do it. Can't emphasize anything else. But we, Juneteenth every day, Black History every day, that's what we have to be about. Well, there's a lot of stuff that's been stolen from us, and sometimes it came away. To take for example the telephone. We would not have modern transportation as we know it today without Granville T. Woods and Elijah McCoy. They made it possible for us to do anything. I mean, the trains weren't in communication with them, and they had to stop every 2 hours to, cool off. Machinery wasn't available. The first big industrial machine was the train engine, and Elijah McCoy figured out how to lubricate that thing, and Granville T. Woods figured out how to talk on the telegraph wires via telephone to the trains. And that made westward expansion happen. But what happened was Granville got squeezed out. Thomas Edison squeezed them out. One of the first major plots against us. You got Lewis Howard Latimer, who was there, who wrote the patent for the telephone for Alexander Graham Bell. So it's an ongoing thing. But now we have knowledge. Now we have power. Now we have the understanding for it. And it was back then. That's the reason why you have to be precise in what you do. Elijah McCoy wasn't just a great inventor, but he knew how to work the system, and he invented a patent that was so ironclad that nobody else could get around it for years. That's the reason why. That's one of the origins. They say, is this the real McCoy? Because he had a patent that was so rock solid, he understood what they was going to do. When they did it, he was born a slave. He already knew. So we have to go in eyes open. I'm guilty of it. I've given away a lot of stuff because I didn't go in eyes open, okay? But we have to go in and do stuff and be eyes open and understand who and what we're dealing with. That's how we start, brother. Whether we're for ourselves or in a corporation, we just have to be cognizant and aware. Mm-hmm. The 14th Amendment. Well, that comes with culture, which breeds investment, which breeds trust, which breeds investment. You know, system is there for us to be able to manipulate it and use it, but can we come together and take advantage of it, right? Are we able to do that? Are we able to cooperatively do that? If you go and study someplace like Minneapolis, right, where they have a large Somalian community, right, where they've bought community, in the last 15 years they bought a whole community, a car dealership, a shopping mall, and everything. And how did they do it? Well, they have a community cooperative process for getting that done. They know how to pool their money together, and like real Orthodox Muslims, they don't pay usury, so they don't deal with the banks. They're not involved in the banking system, and yet they still accomplished it. Right. Right, and they didn't ask permission to buy the land. They went and bought a car dealership and bought they sold cars to their own people, and they're financing it themselves because. Two things. One of those is you can see that by the example. The United States barely helped Japan. I live in Leesburg, home of George C. Marshall. Anybody know who General George C. Marshall is? He's the creator of the Marshall Plan that will help rebuild Europe after we destroyed it, right? The United States made an active effort to help rebuild Europe, and George C. Marshall was the man for it because that was the culture, and they look like them, they act like them, so they helped them rebuild Europe. The Marshall Plan, check it out. When they bombed Japan and they just said, hey, y'all on your own and don't do anything, and we're not there to help. So yeah, that's the character and the type of people that this is part of prevalent society that we're trapped in. So we have to be able to know that we can't ask for anybody else's permission. We just have to do it, like you're doing, brother Kareem down there. You ain't asking for nobody's permission, is you? Well, they did. Let's miss Juneteenth tonight. They did not give us the shortest year in the month. We were talking about that, so we took that month, and it's important. And there's a lot of things that are attached to it. So let's understand. We took it first because of the relevance of legislation, people's birthdays, and it's it's destined because Doc Myers was born on the 29th. You know, so it's like a punctuation, and Juneteenth will be the end of that. So we take it proudly, huh? 30 years. You just seven, Doc. You just seven, Doc Myers. Don't make me spank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you everybody coming. Remember, no matter, even though it was the first start, the 13th Amendment. At least it was the first start. All right. Thank you guys a lot. Ending. Don't even say that. Oh God. Which one? For the annual report? Oh yeah, I haven't opened it yet. Okay. It already did. the plug in for Zoom and YouTube, which means that's the reason why you can see it on my screen right now. I can, yeah. I wasn't able to do the desktop because it threw me to a loop back for a second, but I figured out when I was recording myself. But if I'm not recording myself, if I'm not presenting, I can grab it without causing a loop. So from now on, we can grab it without, and I'll work with Sterling and let him know how to do it and give him access to how to do it, get it done. So therefore, we can start streaming them live on YouTube and record them on the YouTube. Yeah, we are.